It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. In today's video titled, A Revelation Among the Pearls, 3 Possible World War III Indicators. Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. Dream cryptography is where I want to start, and that's something that I made up. You may not be able to go online and Google it and find the definition. I just made that up based on the type of dreams that God has given me. Dreams that are not so easily interpreted, but it takes a little bit more effort, a little bit more prayer, a little bit more research, and sometimes a lot more time, meaning more than a month, more than 6 months. So I want to start out with this. Know this, that for those who do not carry the burden and blessing of a dreamer, you can't begin to understand the height and depth of responsibility, vulnerability, and the unseen measures of praying for accuracy and confidence to speak what it is that God has given. But God knows what it takes to get us to that place of confidence and obedience. And I use the word burden and blessings as far as being a dreamer, simply because in the beginning, I got saved when I was 15 years old, and that's when my dreams began to come. And the dreams that I had were not those that anybody wanted to hear. For whatever reason, God was giving me dreams about death within my family. I would have a dream, I would see the person, I would see how it would happen, and then 2 weeks later, after having that dream, that person would pass away. I did not see this as a gift. I did not see this as a blessing, but a burden, because I had to find someone to dump these dreams off on, because I was young. I was a teenager, just coming to Christ. I don't understand why God would do this to me. And on top of all that, not once, not twice, but 10 times, could have been more than that, I found myself in a place of hurting twice. I hurt waking up because I know the type of dream and the feeling that I had once I woke up. And then I hurt again because now I'm actually seeing it and I'm saying my final goodbyes. God is, if this is what being a dreamer is all about, if this is the gift that you've given me, I don't want it. And I asked God to take it away. And He did. I looked up and years had gone by. And for whatever reason, I revisited this happening, me telling God that I didn't want it. And I felt brought to a place of repentance where I had to apologize to God for my anger that I felt during that time. And even though I felt that He understood why, I still felt the need to apologize and ask God for that gift again, the gift of dreaming, minus all the extra. But at this point, I was stronger in the Lord. I was mature. I wasn't a teenager anymore. I wasn't a babe in Christ. So God, if you gave me this gift again and I begin to have these dreams again, teach me what it is that I'm to do with it, how to handle it. But to my surprise, God took my dreams in a totally different direction. Thank God. And that direction is what this YouTube channel is centered on. Now, I will say that God does give me dreams outside of the material that I share here on this channel, but I have to share and do what God has permitted me to do specifically for this channel. And I want to say to those who may have found it hard to share a dream in confidence and in obedience, you have a responsibility to make yourself vulnerable in an obedient way to God. It is never a dreamer's job to convince anyone of anything that God has spoken to you. Give the people what God has said and let time tell the rest. When God told me to step out and do this YouTube channel, I was not confident, neither was I obedient. But I was going to Abraham and Sarah, and what I decided to do was share my dream with other YouTubers. Yeah, God, there's a YouTube connection there, but that's not what God wanted. But here I am over a year in, lots of videos, over way more subscribers than what I thought it would be. And God has really blessed this channel. He's blessed me to meet a lot of great people, brothers and sisters in the faith. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed, everyone who has ever shared a video, liked the video, left a comment. I want to say a big God bless to you. And without further ado, a revelation among the pearls, 3 possible World War III indicators. And we will start with number 1. This indicator would tie in 3 topics: the market crash, tether, and the 2 wars, Israel war and Ukraine. So with the market crash, God has given me a few dreams about market crash. For this video, we're only going to focus on the first two. These two market crash dreams came to me about 2 weeks apart. The big takeaway from this one, part one of this first dream, is how and what I saw. I saw how, what I understood to be the market, how fast it was falling, the details of the fall, almost like a train that was getting ready to derail and wreck and crash. I saw the sparks, but I also saw numbers. And then I saw part two of this dream. In part two of this dream, I saw two pregnancy tests. One had a yellow 40, one had a blue 40, and I saw a large cap. I saw the pregnancy test go one inside the other, and then both tests were inserted inside of the white cap. On the white cap, I then saw the number 40. So if anyone has ever wondered how I got those numbers that I normally use to try to derive dates, this is where those numbers come from. This is where the colors come from. Even going back to the previous slide when I was talking about the market crashing and the arrow and the sparks, those numbers that I saw, all those things go together. And these numbers and colors were given to me back in 2023. And I have been using them ever since. There are several revelations that I received from this dream, but for this video, the big takeaway will be the second part, the pregnancy test, looking at the colors and numbers. After having the first market crash dream, the second market crash dream came about 2 weeks later. This one I'm sure you guys have heard of already. This is where October 17th comes from. In this dream, I saw a still frame or a picture of a market crash. And when I looked down, I saw myself sitting in a ball pit. And all the balls were these two colors, red and yellow. The big takeaway from this dream is just the date. After having those two market crash dreams, a few minutes later, I had another dream about this coin, Tether. Before this dream, I knew hardly anything about Tether. It wasn't on my radar. I'd heard of it, but couldn't tell you much about it. After having this dream, I absolutely was looking for Tether to crash and to come back unstable. It wasn't until after I had this dream that news began to come out about an issue of compliance with stable coins. And that is what got my attention because I had just had this dream back in April. Basically, this dream was about my brother-in-law looking for his Tether swing. He said it was here, just here, and now it's gone. I remember seeing my father in the dream. He was helping my brother-in-law look for this swing. Finally, they found something. And I saw my dad pulling up something out of the ground. He was really pulling, straining, trying to get this thing up out of the ground. And when I saw what it was a swing. It was a swing set, definitely a swing set. But it was beat up, it was bent, the legs were bent. It had roots and vines on it. And I'm thinking to myself, if this was just here and now it looks like this, there's no way. This thing's been buried for a long time. And then I remember my dad taking his hand off of the swing set and it began to fall. As it was falling, he grabbed it to stabilize it. And so because my brother-in-law was saying my Tether swing, I knew that this dream was connected to the Tether coin, that something was going to take place where Tether was going to fall, crash, it was going to go away, and whenever it would come back unstable. Now let's begin to tie these dreams together, the two market crash dreams, the big takeaways, and then the Tether dream. Why was God showing me all of this? Well, that brings us to the two wars, Israel war and Ukraine war. Now, my dream cryptography back in 2023 was pitiful. I took what I saw at face value, not understanding anything else. It was literally. And so I set those two market crash dreams aside. And then it wasn't until 2024, almost 4 months into that year, that God nudged me to pick those dreams up again. And when I did, God began to reveal so much to me that I couldn't hardly keep up. So there I was looking at all of these numbers, and God began to give me understanding on how to use them. And then I began to see a pattern, and that terrified me. And God left me enough time to try him, to test him, to see, God, is it really you showing me this? Because if you are showing me this, then by this date, I should have a dream. And then he let enough time pass for me to go backwards so that the pattern will be revealed to me. So for example, my first market crash dream was on August 17th. That's noted in the middle column, first row. And the Lord led me to start the yellow 40-day count on that day. So the starting date for the yellow 40 days is August the 17th. Sliding over that same row, the ending date after 40 days, that 40 days would end on September 26th. That yellow 40 time period ended, And I had a dream the next day, which was the second market crash dream, when I was given the date of October 17th. I felt the Lord leading me to start the red 60 days. That should be red. I didn't highlight it red, but I was to start that red 60 days on the day that I had that dream. Moving 60 days forward, if you slide over in that same row, those 60 days would have ended on October the 16th. The next day was the date given to me in that dream, October 17th. On that day, I felt led to start the 177-day count, which should have been green. I don't know why I didn't highlight the red and green. But I started that 177-day count on October 17th, and that ending period was April the 11th. Well, April the 11th hadn't happened yet, and so this was my time to test God. This is my time period. And so I said, okay, God, if this is you really showing me how to use these numbers and this is what you're giving me to do, then on the 10th or the 11th, I should have a dream. And I waited, and then on April the 10th, I had the tether swing dream. So this was a dream pattern that I was seeing. When one thing ends, another thing starts. I'll have another dream, but also the pattern of war. October 17th, I was looking for something for the markets to crash on October 17th because of the dream that I had, but something dealing with war took place. My brother-in-law in the dream, his birthday was on April the 18th. So after having this tether dream, I was looking for April the 18th for something to happen as far as tether or the markets crashing. But on the 18th, something dealing with war took place. Both war events had to do with Israel. Now moving on to Ukraine. Going back to market crash dream number 1, the second part of that dream with the pregnancy test, God laid flag color on my mind. And so in this particular case, I saw that Ukraine's flag colors was the same colors as those 2 pregnancy tests that I saw in that dream. And so now I understood that God was telling me something about war, because Ukraine war was not on that timeline. It was Israel, the Israel war that's on that timeline, not Ukraine. And so I'm thinking this has nothing to do with Ukraine, just God reiterating the idea of war. So now these 2 wars are on my radar, but mostly Israel. For this next part, I'll be tying in bits and pieces from these 4 videos that I shared a while back. As you can see, a while back meaning 2024, starting June 20th, June 29th, July 5th, and July 6th. So if you want to go back and catch all the details of what I'm about to share, you would have to go back and check out those 4 videos. But for now, I want to just take a look at the big takeaways. So far, God has shown me a lot about war, not only on the timeline, but also using colors. And at this point, I understood that the color blue and yellow represented Ukraine, but this was God's way of reiterating the idea of war. At least that's what I understood it during that time. And so I'm at the point where I felt God was giving me dates, July 1st and July 2nd. And I shared in this video, Crypto Revelation Through Colors, how I came up with the Ukrainian flag using those 2 colors for those 2 pregnancy tests, as well as sharing these 2 dates. One, looking for something to do with tether news. The other, July 2nd, news about something to do with war. I felt that this should be a pair of events, and therefore looking for something to happen with the market, possibly a market crash. Now with tether, I will say the July 1st date was floating around in the news already. The only part that I was looking for was for tether to crash the market. So July 1st, July 2nd, tether news, possibly a market crash, and news about something to do with war, July 2nd. While waiting for July 1st and July 2nd, I had my first Tupac dream. And if you listen to any of my recent videos, you've heard a lot about this dream. What I have here is the original video where I shared this, but the big takeaway from this is the backwards flag that I saw on the mini casket. And that a backwards flag means marching towards war. So this Tupac dream was more confirmation to me for that July 1st and July 2nd date. But mostly July 2nd because I was looking for news to come out about war. Still waiting for July 1st and July 2nd, I have a dream on June 30th. And in this dream, I saw myself mixing up a bowl full of pom-pom balls, blue, yellow, and white. I'm mixing them up with a plastic spoon in a styrofoam bowl, and that was the end of the dream. I woke up from this dream, and I'm like, God, I know yellow and I know blue. What is white? And so here we are, finally, July 1st. And so I couldn't figure out what this white meant. I prayed about it. I was fasting about it. God, I need to understand what it is you're showing me. Am I mixing up yellow and blue? Am I mixing up war? Because those are the two colors for war. Am I mixing up war with something else? What am I mixing it up with? What am I doing here? Even the bowl was white. The spoon was white. So you're emphasizing this color white for some reason. Time goes by. Here it is, July 1st. News breaks about the EU, the stablecoin laws, and Micah. I'm even looking at the EU flag, and I'm also seeing yellow and blue. War. So July 1st was the first stab at Tether and any other stablecoin that was not compliant. But no market crash. July 2nd came around, and there was news about Israel preparing for a possible war with Hezbollah. So there was my war news on July 2nd. But again, no market crash. As far as Tether goes, I had to become satisfied with the fact that God had given me a dream in April. And then this news about Tether and stable coins and the micro rule, all that came out months later. To me, that's confirming steps towards what I feel God has already shown me. I am still waiting on this thing to happen with Tether where it goes away and in the end it becomes unstable. And then finally the news about Israel and Hezbollah war. So some hits and misses there. But I still did not know what white represented in this dream. So as I'm praying about everything, here it is, July 2nd, I have a dream. And this dream I'm calling Magic War. So on July 2nd, as I'm dozing off to go to sleep, it's around 10 o'clock. I have this dream about this guy. I can't see his face. I hear his voice, and his voice sounds just like Clay Clark. And while listening to his voice, I am looking at the driver's seat of this. The car was open. I'm looking eye level at the driver's seat, kind of squatted down. And I see under this seat, this blue plasticky, sticky label. And I'm curious about it. So I'm reaching under the seat to grab this sticky label. And I hear this guy say, "This is a magic war." And as I reach for the label, he shouts magic at me. And it startles me in the dream, and it startles me to the point where I wake up. And when I woke up, I saw I had been only sleeping for about 4 minutes. Lord, I know I've been praying about this white pom-pom ball. I don't know what white represents. But what in the world is a magic war? So I woke up and started doing my research. My husband was awake, so he was helping me to do some research. And what we found was this Magic War video game. And when I saw the colors of this shield for this game, I saw the colors blue, white, and yellow. And I thought, same three colors that I'm trying to figure out from my last dream. I do not understand white. And so because of the two words, magic and war meaning something that God has been dealing with me before, and I do see the yellow and blue there, I decided to do a search for magic and war. So looking up magic as it's related to war, I saw that magic was a project during World War II. It involved the United States Navy Communications Special Unit, as well as the United States Army Signals Intelligence Service. All that to say SIS. And so the SIS was the United States Army code-breaking division throughout World War II. So magic was a project during World War II. Not only that, magic was the code name for the messages that went between Tokyo and Japan during this time. And then magic, as it relates to Pearl Harbor, was the cover name assigned to those decrypting and translating the messages. So magic, as it relates to World War II and Pearl Harbor, magic was a project. Magic was a code name as well as a cover name, all of which was used to help decode and translate these messages. I thought that was pretty impressive that dream led me to all of that wonderful research. And so now we're to the word cryptography, which is what I used in the beginning of this video as it related to me being a dreamer and dream cryptography, trying to figure things out, trying to decode, finding the hidden message. And so that's what cryptography is. It is a process of hiding or coding information so that the only person that the message is for is the only one who's able to read it. And that is how I see my dreams. I see my dream as God is a person that has taken this dream. He's done the cryptography on it. He's put in these hidden codes and all this information for me. He wants me to read it. He wants me to interpret it for whatever reason. And so that is where I get the word dream cryptography from. I made it up based on that. Again, for full details about this magic war dream, we're looking at number 3. It would be in that video. But the big takeaway from the magic war dream is God wants me to focus on the word magic as it relates to war, specifically World War II and Pearl Harbor. Okay, God, yeah, you show me all the stuff about war. It's extremely impressive. But I'm trying to figure out what white is. What is white in this dream? So I had this dream on June the 30th about the pom-poms in the bowl, and I did not get an understanding of until about the 3rd of July. And going back to the very first market crash dream, looking at those pregnancy tests again, simple, it's literally right there in my face. The white represented the cap. You had the yellow pregnancy test, you had the blue pregnancy test, and then you had 40 on each one of those. The 40 was the same color as the markings that I saw on each test. The white 40 represented the white 40 that was written on that cap, the cap that the pregnancy test went inside of. So this white 40 was like the mother. It represented the 40 weeks because that is full term. Medically, that's the period of time that you would carry a baby. Full term would be 40 weeks. So that 40 weeks went along with the yellow 40 days and the blue 40 days. And so now it's making sense. What God is doing is he's preparing me to understand that there's going to come a time where I'm going to need to apply 40 weeks during my timeline. And that was something that I originally missed. Now for the final video on our list. Because of the magic war dream and doing my research and finding this particular shield that goes along with this game, looking past the colors but looking at the beast that's on the shield, I felt that represented something. When I first saw it, I thought about the book of Revelation. And sure enough, my husband actually did some research, and we were brought to Daniel 7 and 4, where Daniel had the vision of the 4 beasts. And one of the beasts was like a lion, and it had the wings of an eagle. So when I saw this, I knew sure enough this was something that the Lord was showing me. Also, in that particular video, I shared that someone who has become a very dear friend to me sent to me through Telegram this Jerusalem flag. And I'm looking at it and I see the yellow, I see the blue, and I see the white, and I see this connecting all of that to Jerusalem. Okay, God, now I'm back in Israel again. And she pointed out that even the posture and the position that this lion was in the same position as the beast on the shield that went with the game Magic War. And so I decided to do some more research on this Magic War again to see if there's anything more. And on this particular day, I saw another shield. And this shield was to a game called Magic World. And there was the lion. The shield, same colors, blue, white, and yellow. But now I see the lion standing in the same position as the beast on the first shield and standing in the same position as the lion on the Jerusalem flag. God is taking me somewhere with this. So my research has led me to 2 games, Magic War and Magic World. And both has connected to this Jerusalem flag. And when I look at Magic World and Magic War, I noticed that when I took away the word magic, the 2 words now that stands out is World War. That made me nervous. And so now I'm asking God, are you telling me something about a World War III? Because again, magic, code name, project, and cover name during World War II. And also during Pearl Harbor. So God, is this saying something about World War III? That was the question back then. And now this brings us to indicator number 2. And these will go much faster. A revelation among the pearls, 3 possible World War III indicators. Now we're on to number 2. Indicator number 2 is all about a recent dream that I shared. This is the video where I shared this on May 30th of this year. The new revealed within the old. I had this dream on April 24th. And in this dream, I saw the colors yellow and blue. You would have to go back and watch that video for the full details of this dream. But also in this dream, I saw something that looked like what you see on the screen. WWIII II, and I did not know whether there was a third line there representing World War III. It was covered and I could not tell. But in this dream, I was told a war is coming. Also in this video where I shared this particular dream, I also talked about Putin market crashes and trains and how the trains were connected to me understanding something about a market crash. And therefore, I am saying that another market crash is coming. And here I was connecting Putin to that coming market crash. It all having to do with trains. Again, this dream on April 24th. This video I put out on May 30th. And then on June the 1st, I saw an article about Russian railway. And in this article, it's talking about 2 train accidents that happened in separate areas. You had 2 trains to derail because of a collapsed bridge. Again, I was connecting trains and derailment to a market crash. And I saw this as confirmation to the fact that a market crash is coming. Not a coincidence that I had just did that video about trains. So after making that video and seeing this article a few days later about the trains, I came back and did a follow-up asking, is this confirmation that God is revealing World War III? So if you haven't seen those 2 videos, please check them out for more details. And this leads us to indicator number 3. Is this possibly an indicator that God is showing us World War III? And I want to start with the June 1st events. Not only did the article come out about Russia and the railways and the trains derailing, but now I'm looking at 2 events that took place having to do with the Israel-Palestine war, as well as Russia and Ukraine. These 2 events made major headline. On June 1st, news came out about the Operation Spiderweb, where Ukraine launched a major attack on Russia. You also had news come out about the Colorado mall attack that was being investigated as terrorism. But what did I see that caused these 2 events to have something in common? And I don't know why. I was just sitting there watching the news that day and this popped out. I saw 2 major pearls in one day. Taking a look at the 2 articles here. What we know about the Pearl Street Mall attack in Boulder, that's relating to the Israel-Palestine war. And then the next one, the ingenious way Ukraine pulled off its stunning Pearl Harbor attack against Russia. Pearl Street, and then this attack being described as Pearl Harbor. 2 major pearls in one day. And then the question came to me, what led to World War II? And I found out that the primary event that led to World War II was the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor. Going back to the magic war dream that I shared earlier, magic was a code name. It was a cover name that related to Pearl Harbor. Had I not had that magic war dream, I would have never made this connection at all. So this magic war dream is connecting me to World War II. The reason behind it was because of Pearl Harbor. And now, fast forwarding to June 1st, I'm seeing 2 pearls in one day, which brings emphasis to the Pearl Harbor attack. Then, if you remember the 2 games, Magic World, Magic War, if you take out magic in both of those, you're left with the word World War. That was something, again, that I thought God was showing me back then. God, are you showing me World War III? Finally, putting it all together, a revelation among the pearls, 3 possible World War III indicators. All 3 are connecting both wars. Now I see why white was important, because yellow, blue, and white is showing both wars at the same time. You have the yellow and blue that represents Ukraine, and you have the blue and white that represents Israel. God was showing me 2 wars at one time. The shields represent fighting. So I felt that God was showing me World War III with the magic war and all of that finding. I felt that he was showing me more specifically Ukraine as it relates to World War III, and me seeing that World WWII and II covered, possibly a 3 behind that covering. And then even more specific with what happened on June the 1st of this year with Ukraine attack being specifically described as a Pearl Harbor attack on Russia. And that Pearl Harbor attack takes us back to World War II, which loops us back to Pearl Harbor, which brings us back to the beginning of the Magic War dream. As always, please take these things before the Lord in prayer. Let Him give you understanding about all of these things. That is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.